Welcome to Rise Beyond Now, your source of daily motivation, faith, and strength to rise above challenges and live with purpose. For anyone who has ever felt lost in the shadows, weighed down by heavy thoughts and emotions, this message is for you. Today, I want to share my journey, a journey from the depths of despair to the heights of hope, from darkness to light. This is how I escaped the dark hole of depression, step by step, moment by moment, with faith and resilience lighting the way. It started quietly. There was no dramatic event, no clear trigger, just a growing heaviness, a silent ache that crept into my mornings and lingered through my nights. I found myself withdrawing from friends, turning down invitations, and sitting alone in a room that felt cold and empty. The world outside seemed distant, unreachable. Smiles felt forced. Conversations became exhausting. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the person staring back. Tired eyes, listless expression, a mind clouded with doubt and self-criticism. Every day felt like a battle. Getting out of bed required more strength than I thought I had. Simple tasks became mountains. I felt invisible, as if my pain was locked away where no one could see it, and no one could help. The loneliness was overwhelming, and there were times I wondered if I would ever feel whole again. But in the darkest of moments, a small voice inside reminded me, "You are not alone." It was faint, barely audible over the noise of my own thoughts, but it was enough to spark something within me, a tiny flame of hope. I realized that even in the cave of despair, there was a way out. If only I could find the courage to seek it. The first step was admitting my struggle. I reached out to someone I trusted, a close friend who listened without judgment, who simply held space for my pain. The relief of speaking my truth, of letting the mask slip, was profound. Sharing my story was the beginning of healing. I learned that vulnerability is not weakness, it is strength. The journey out of depression starts with honesty, with acknowledging that it's okay to not be okay. I began to notice the small things, the warmth of sunlight on my skin, the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze, the distant laughter of children playing in a park. These moments, though fleeting, reminded me that beauty still existed in the world and that I deserved to experience it. I made a commitment to myself. Each day, I would find one thing to be grateful for, no matter how small. The process was slow. Some days the darkness returned with full force, and I felt myself slipping. But I refused to give up. I started journaling, pouring my thoughts and feelings onto paper. Writing became a form of meditation, a way to untangle the knots in my mind. I confronted my fears, my regrets, my guilt, and my insecurities. I learned to forgive myself for my perceived failures and shortcomings. I discovered that self-compassion is a powerful antidote to despair. Meditation became my sanctuary. I would sit in silence, breathing deeply, allowing my thoughts to come and go like clouds drifting across the sky. At first, it was difficult. My mind raced, my heart pounded, and the urge to run away was strong. But with practice, I found peace in the stillness. I learned to observe my emotions without judgment, to accept them as part of my human experience. The more I meditated, the more I felt connected to something greater than myself, a sense of divine presence, a quiet assurance that I was loved and supported. Nature played a vital role in my recovery. I sought out green spaces, walking among trees and listening to bird song. The natural world reminded me of the cycles of life, that even after the harshest winter, spring always returns. Watching the sunrise became a daily ritual. As the first rays of light broke through the darkness, I felt a surge of hope. Each new day was a blank canvas, a chance to begin again. I surrounded myself with positive influences. I listened to uplifting music, read inspirational books, and followed accounts that shared messages of encouragement and faith. I replaced negative self-talk with affirmations. I am worthy. I am strong. I am healing. Slowly, my mindset began to shift. I started to believe in my own resilience. I realized that my story was not defined by my struggles, but by my ability to rise above them. Connecting with others was essential. I joined support groups both online and in person, where I met people who understood my journey. Their stories inspired me. Their courage gave me strength. Together, we learned that healing is not a straight path. It is a winding road, filled with setbacks and triumphs. We celebrated each small victory, encouraged each other during setbacks, and reminded ourselves that progress is progress no matter the pace. Therapy became a lifeline. Working with a compassionate counselor, I explored the roots of my depression, learned coping strategies, and set achievable goals. I realized that seeking professional help is an act of self-love, not shame. My therapist taught me valuable tools for managing stress, reframing negative thoughts, and building self-esteem. Through therapy, I discovered that healing is possible and that I am not defined by my diagnosis. As I continued my journey, I learned the importance of self-care. I prioritized sleep, nutrition, and exercise. I allowed myself to rest when needed and celebrated my efforts, no matter how small. I practiced kindness towards myself, recognizing that recovery is a process, not a destination. I surrounded myself with people who uplifted and supported me. Their love became a beacon of light, guiding me out of the darkness. Gradually, the heavy clouds began to lift. I noticed moments of joy, laughter with friends, the satisfaction of completing a project, the simple pleasure of a quiet evening at home. Smiling felt natural again. My energy returned. I began to dream, to set goals, to imagine a future filled with purpose and meaning. Through it all, my faith grew stronger. I leaned on spiritual practices, prayed for guidance, and trusted that there was a greater plan for my life. I realized that every struggle had shaped me, given me strength, and prepared me for a higher purpose. The pain I endured was not in vain. It was the soil from which new growth could emerge. Today, I stand in the light. I am not the same person who once felt lost and hopeless. I am stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. I have learned that darkness is not the end. It is a chapter in a much larger story. I am living proof that healing is possible, that hope can triumph over despair, and that every soul is worthy of love and redemption. If you are struggling right now, know this: you are not alone. Your pain is real, but so is your strength. There is a way out of the darkness, even if you can't see it yet. Reach out for help. Speak your truth. Find the courage to take one small step forward. Surround yourself with love, seek professional support, and never give up on yourself. You are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more loved than you'll ever know. Healing is possible. Joy is within reach. Light is waiting to break through. If I can heal, so can you.